You're right.
I'm right.
I'm not. I'm just kidding.
Good evening, everyone. The Lapeer Community School Board of Education meeting is now called to order. So this evening, before we get started with the agenda, we want to make one amendment to our agenda this evening. We are going to add, I'd like to have a motion for us on the table to add, right after the pledge, organizational business.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Okay, perfect. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, so with that, then we'll go into the Pledge of Allegiance. Mrs. LeVar, would you please lead us?
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mrs. LeVar. Okay, we are going to then go into the organizational business. So the first item on that would be, we'll begin with the nominations for president.
I would nominate Summer Putnam for president.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak? Aye. Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, then we have a nomination for secretary.
I nominate Lisa Novak for secretary.
Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay. Any, Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, then we have nomination for president. Or vice president, so sorry.
I nominate Craig Watson for vice president. Second.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, next we have for treasurer. So our practice has been to have the assistant superintendent for business serve as our treasurer for the board.
I make a motion that Mark Rader, the assistant superintendent for business, be appointed as treasurer.
Second.
Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, then we have appointment of a recording secretary. So typically we recommend that Mary Moss remains the recording secretary for the Board of Education.
I'll make a motion that Mary Moss, the administrative assistant for the Board of Education and superintendent, be appointed to serve as recording secretary for Board of Education meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a support. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeVar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, and then I think our last item for the organizational business is appointment of board committees.
I'll make a motion that the board president be authorized to appoint board committee members and chairpersons to the following committees for 2026: Finance and Operations, Student Advocacy and Communication, Teaching, Learning and Technology, Personnel and Policy. The board president will also be authorized to appoint members and chairpersons to the Legislative Ad Hoc Committee.
Support.
A motion and a support. Any discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van Wagen?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Nova? Aye. Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, so I'll share with you, we'll have a discussion, I'll share with you guys the committees, but then the board partners with the buildings, we'll keep that as is until June, and then we'll make changes at that time.
Very good.
Okay, so then I think that closes out our organizational business for this evening. I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent Wanda, for the presenting school.
Thank you, Madam President. It is my pleasure to introduce Mrs. Stacy Weber, the principal of Murphy Elementary, to share with us on board goal 4-1A. Mrs. Weber.
First of all, I wanted to give you this. We would have had a lot more if we had school today, but at least we had one teacher who did. We appreciate all they can do. Thank
Nice.
you.
Yeah.
Take some down, pass them around.
No students in the school, so Stacy had to make these.
Yeah. I did them all.
You did a great ride.
Nice job.
These
Yeah.
are awesome. Thank you.
Your lumps down. Love it.
Love it.
This is first and second graders.
Yes, that's our 1-2 split. So this is
Very
Blake's class.
cool. Aww. Very nice. This one's safe. These are very cool. How cute. I love it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
You got call out specific, so.
April, there's a
Pretty more
moment to
tiny
collect yourself.
Yeah. Can we have a moment?
Going to recess for 25 minutes.
April's a loud person.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Are those my glasses?
Yeah. That's right.
You don't have the rest. Thank you, Stacy.
We appreciate all that. Well, good evening. We're really excited to be here tonight to share with you what we've been doing at Murphy for the first half of this year. So I have here with me tonight first, this is Jen Craig. This is our new learning coach. I also have Brianna De Stefano. She's our mental health specialist. I have Amy McNulty, who is our first grade teacher. And this here is Eliana Shaba, and she is a 4th grade student and part of Murphy Live. So we're happy to share how our foundational Tier 1 system supports the whole child: academics, behavior, and attendance. Those are the 3 things that we've really been working on this year. We do that for every student every day, and our focus is ensuring our core curriculum is robust and adaptable. So Tier 1 is not a program. It's not just something that we just make, follow a script and do. It's the quality of our universal instruction and culture. So tonight, we're going to highlight 3 different things: how we differentiate within our core curriculum, which is the academics; how we foster a positive and safe culture, which is our behavior; and how our push for consistent attendance, that connection. This works directly to address the board goals that you see up there. Specifically, we're focused on achieving the benchmark 4-1A. 100% of schools will support the 10 components of the whole school, whole community, whole child. Our practices in academics, behavior, and attendance represent several key components of the WCSS model in action, serving as evidence in our Tier 1 implementation. So I just wanted to bring this chart in just to kind of show you. So you'll see that in the middle, that is the heart of this chart. That's the whole child right there. We look at that academics, we look at the behavior and attendance, the social and emotional. The inside is the tiers, as our multi-tier system of support, our MTSS. So we've really been focused on Tier 1 this year because we know if we're firming up Tier 1 and we're doing really well in Tier 1, our kids are not gonna need tier 2 and tier 3. So we're really working hard this year only on that tier 1. We're really working on differentiating that core curriculum. So all kids are getting the same curriculum, but we're differentiating how they get it depending on the needs of the students. You'll see on the outside, there's a circle that goes around. You'll see it's a never-ending circle. That's our SAT process, our student assessment team. That's where we get our students together, we get a team together, including the teacher. The teacher will say, you know, I'm this behavior, I need help with it. We come together, we talk about it, we identify it, analyze it, implement it, evaluate it. We do it for academics, we do it for behavior, and we're doing it for attendance. And it continues to go. We try strategy after strategy until we figure out exactly what works best for that particular student. So that's why it's a never-ending cycle that goes around and around. There it is. So before launching this year's Whole Child Focus, we needed full staff alignment for this. So these posters that are up here, that we're putting up right now, they represent the evidence of a dedicated professional development day where every staff member contributed to developing our universal Tier 1 practices.
So we brainstormed across the 4 key areas: the individual student support, the classroom culture, and parent involvement, and homeschool culture.
So this wasn't just an exercise in generating behavior ideas. Our goal in this was to create systems that support the whole child and drive improvement in our 3 key areas.
So, effective Tier 1 instruction must be high quality and flexible enough to meet the needs of all the students within our school. Over the past few months, we've been making some instructional shifts and collaborating and reviewing common core standards across the grade level. So one example that we did was with the ELA standard. And each grade level looked at one standard and then looked at the standard above, or the grade level above and below, to see how they could do mastery. Through that, we found that this started to trickle down into the other curriculum. So teachers found that while the core standard itself remained largely consistent, that the knowledge required for mastery significantly changed across grade levels. Throughout this work, we noticed that an instructional shift happens in the classrooms, and specifically while using our new math and vision program. And so here today we have with us Amy McNulty, who's going to share some of her shifts that she made in her classroom.
I just want to talk a little bit about how I differentiate in math with our new Visions math program in my first grade classroom. One way is I have a couple of my students that aren't there. They're not up to that first grade expectation of being able to do the first grade math yet. So I have them doing kindergarten. So what I do is they listen to my lessons with all my first graders. They do a little bit of the work that they can do, and then they go out into the work area in the hallway with my parapro, and she works on the kindergarten. So I try to align the standards as closely as I can between the kindergarten and first grade, so they're getting problems that are similar to what we're doing, just a little bit lower expectation for them. So that's one way for those lower kids, but I also do the same thing for the higher kids. So I have one of my students from the 1-2 split. He comes over to my classroom for first grade envisions, and he before each unit he takes a pre-test. If he's proficient in that pre-test, then he stays in the second grade classroom and he does the second grade math. And then on the test that he's not proficient in, he goes to and stays in my classroom and does the first grade. So, he's done that. We're on like unit 5 or finishing unit 5, and he's been in my room for about 2 of those units in first grade and then 3 of them for second grade. We do have a lot of splits this year. So the other teachers and I, my class, the other first grade classroom, and then 1-2 and 2-3 classroom, we all planned our math block at the same time so that we could share kids, and this makes it easier so that we can let kids have one teacher teaching one grade level, but we can move kids where they need to go. So that makes it a little bit easier.
we're gonna move into behavior, and we have Brianna De Stefano, our mental health specialist, who is going to talk to you about what we're doing there.
Hello, I'm Brianna De Stefano. I've been a mental health specialist at Murphy for almost 3 years now. And at the end of the year and at the beginning of the year, I'm always left like wondering, how am I gonna reach more students next year? How do I spread the lessons of social emotional learning to help the school as a whole? I've tried multiple strategies like whole classroom lessons, whole school lessons that I've taught classroom by classroom, signage, positive messages and instructions of like how to handle conflict with peers. The hard truth is I've only reached a few. And I have come to the realization that I can't do it alone. So I'm really excited for the Positivity Project, P2. It is a way to educate the school as a whole and all be on the same page and keep using the same language and using the same lessons. This program includes lessons at tier 1, 2, and 3, and it also has parent resources, enabling our staff and families to teach concepts in uniform. With P2, the teacher teaches that lesson and then I can follow up with a tier 2 lesson for the students that need those 2-tier supports. And it takes it even farther because if the student needs more than just 2-tier supports, there's also a lot of tier 3 support lessons for our social worker. So that keeps us all on the same page and all with the same lessons. And it helps with time management as well, because we get new students and we are struggling with, okay, now we have to plan what we're gonna do with them, we gotta figure out what they need. And with this, when a referral comes in, it's gonna be more of like, okay, we've been working on this and they're just not getting it. So I can go in and do more lessons and we can tackle situations and behavior that way. Behaviors have been high across buildings, and we are taking a lot of time managing conflicts, managing behaviors. Our teachers are doing it at tier 1, I'm doing it at tier 2, along with our administrators, and it takes up a lot of time. So I'm really excited for this program, because we really need the tools. We need tools to give the teachers to be able to implement these behavior modifications that we are looking for. We're going to be asking our staff to track how much time they spend dealing with conflicts and behavior so they can see how much time it is taking from their learning time, and so we can track our progress along the way, because we do anticipate to see a lot of progress. P2 has even shared with us other schools' projects and data from using their program. There was a Westlake Middle School in North Carolina, saw measurable improvements in their school climate in the first quarter of using P2. Students' reports of feeling safe at school increased from 66% to 75%, and the percentage of students who felt that teachers truly cared about them jumped from 54% to 87%. A very powerful 33% increase. By giving students and staff a shared language for character strengths and relationships, P2 helps foster stronger connection and a safer, more supportive learning environment. And then I was going to introduce Eliana.
Good evening. My name is Eliana Shaba, and I'm a 4th grader at Murphy Elementary. I'm honored to be here tonight to share how leadership has changed my experience at school. One of my favorite roles this year is serving as anchor for our morning announcements. Every morning, I help start the day for our entire school. It's my job to share the news, celebrate birthdays, and remind everyone of our school goals. At first, being behind the microphone was a little scary. I had to learn how to speak clearly and stay organized, and work with the team, with the tech crew to make sure the broadcast went smoothly. Being a leader hasn't just given me a title, it has given me confidence. In the classroom, I'm more comfortable raising my hand and sharing my ideas during lessons. In the hallway, I feel like a role model. I know that younger students are watching, so I try my best to lead by example. For myself, I've learned I could do hard things even when I'm nervous. Being an anchor has taught me that my voice matters. Here's a short clip from Murphy Live This week's positivity project is teamwork. Watch this video on teamwork and be ready to talk about why you think teamwork is important in friendship. What are some examples of teamwork you noticed in this video clip?
We do not have that video. Sorry.
That is a terrible build-up.
I was right, we did not put that in there, sorry. And then then they watch the video, and then they have some follow-up questions later that the teacher will stop and pause to facilitate instruction and conversation around the PT project within the classroom. So it's not all on the teacher, we're also, doing it.
Incorporating live with it.
Eliana's gonna be my new speechwriter. What she said.
I see her combing her in the background. Good job.
That's Gavin, he's a third grader at
Gavin doesn't look as quite comfortable yet.
He sure does on this video.
He's full of personality.
So this just kind of, as we pulled data from last year to this year to look at where we're at now, where we were at. So if you see on the one side, you'll see that we had across the board, other than in second grade, we had a lot of referrals. We moved now to this year. Look at it's fifth grade, but it's first through fourth. First through fourth, there's barely any. Kindergarten, yes, we have quite a few in kindergarten, but we have quite a few that are just coming to school right now who have never been to school, so they're learning school. So we're getting there with them. By the end of the year, we'll get them. I mean, if you look, kindergarten was high last year, and look at first grade now this year. So we get them there eventually, but we see that what we are doing is actually working. Those numbers are coming down. Next is our attendance challenge. So we started this year doing a school-wide attendance challenge. So you'll see these hang in our cafeteria. So when a class has attendance of 95% or more, they get one of these flags hung up in the cafeteria. So what we do then is at the end of the month, we tally up which classrooms have the most days at 95%, and then they get either an extra recess, maybe some time in the gym, a free choice in the classroom, so they get a reward for having the highest attendance of the year, of that month. So every month, somebody different is the people that earn it. So we have some students that we teach that are going to talk about this experience of the attendance challenge.
The attendance challenge has made me come to school because last year there wasn't any, and there wasn't an attendance challenge, and I was not encouraged to come. Attendance challenge, I'm now encouraged to come to school by my friends and classmates because they want me to come and they're counting on me.
So I have to tell you, this student for last year is 84 days of school. This year, and by this time last year, he had missed 46 days. This year, he's down to 12 days missed. So, big difference. Just because his class wants him there so they can win the challenge. So, we're getting them there. Might be a chance, for competition, but that's okay. We're getting them to school. If they're there, they're going to win.
Being a part of the attendance challenge makes me feel a part of a team, and I know people are counting on me, and I don't want to let them down. The attendance challenge makes our school more exciting because we get to have extra recesses and build snowmen and other fun things outside.
So this, in November, both fourth grades, believe it or not, tied for the attendance challenge. So they picked to go outside and build snowmen. So they got to go outside and build snowmen. That was their reward for that.
We're gonna have that attendance challenge for ASC. Who wants to build snowmen?
So this is just for attendance. We went back and we looked at the data for attendance. You'll see the total days absent, the total days attended in A. So in graph A, it shows a reduction in total days absent school-wide. So this is all students. From last year, we were at 1,625 days. This year, we're at 1,336 days. So that is almost 300 more days of instruction students received this year, thanks to this collective focus of our staff, families, and our students. Graph B shows where our grades stand together against that 95% goal. Grades 1, 2, and 4 are consistently above 93%, demonstrating that the class-wide focus of 95% attendance challenge is successfully motivating. This also shows us where to focus. We know that we need to focus in kindergarten and third grade. We got to start looking at what's going on in kindergarten and third grade. How can we get them up to where the other grades are? So that's our new thing we're going to start looking at, is how we're going to get that up and how we're going to make that better. So thank you. We're not just running programs, we're implementing evidence-based school policies and practices that make tangible connections between the well-being and academic achievement of every student. So we thank you for supporting the resources that make this essential Tier 1 work possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any
Questions?
questions or comments?
No, I do. Of course. Number one, don't forget to invite me to the spelling
Always.
bee. I need to get that so I can get time off work, so
Okay.
whoever's running that this year. Number two, the Positivity Project. Now, I'm very familiar with the Positivity Project, having gone through it with my kids at Roland Warner and Zemmer. And I know that Jason at the high school thinks that they're not doing it. So can somebody, Michelle, can you explain to me what is the difference between the Positivity Project geared to middle school kids, and how is it going to be able to be utilized in the elementary?
The buildings funded themselves, so it's up to them to do that. They all have a PBIS initiative or kind of behavior system. That's what the teachers were trained 9 years ago. But the Positivity Project is a purchase program, and they can.
We actually do fundraisers, like we have our Firebirds fundraiser coming up, which pays for almost half of it. So we are doing fundraisers towards the Positivity Project, so we can make sure that we can continue.
And this is the first year that you've done
We're just starting.
Okay,
We're
that's
just
because I'd never
starting
heard of
it in
it
January. We jumped down a little bit late, but we thought, you know what, after coming back to school and seeing everything and talking about it, we're like, you know what, we need this. We need this at Murphy. And so we just decided that we were going to go ahead, and they gave us a good price for half a year, and so now we can start fundraising for next year so that we can make sure that we can continue to do it.
I think Schickler uses it.
Yeah.
Schickler does use it. I wasn't familiar with it being in the elementary, but I think it's a great program.
Any other questions?
No, I was just gonna say with the attendance, challenge and him, saying how he comes because his friends want him there. It's neat to see kids see the effect of a team process, right? I'm showing up because of them, but that also builds their morale, instead of just thinking about themselves,
Yep.
So if they're starting it there with just that, it's gonna lend to every other aspect that they do, and that's a huge positive
Yep.
everywhere.
And it goes
So-
right along with the Positivity Project.
Yeah,
And that teamwork
that's-
piece is huge, so it does.
And you could tell the way he was talking, my friends want me to be there. My friends want me to come to school. So he really knows the reason why, and that's huge. So, it plays out with employees at work too, like, we need the whole team here, please, So I might have to get some pointers. So,
Well, thank
that's
you.
fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming and presenting to us.
Thank you. I'm gonna
And-
take you for the cards.
Thank you also for being a leader.
Yeah.
That's for going outside your comfort zone to now you seem like you're really shining in that leadership role. So that's amazing. So thank you for coming.
He'll be here next. Easy.
Board
You got
president next.
She's thinking about it.
Maybe they
Give me a little bit.
Yes,
Great job.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, back to our agenda. I don't see any comment cards this evening. So we will go right into our reports. So tonight we have our finance and operations. Dr. Watson, would you please share us
Certainly.
the reports?
So on December 19th at 2 p.m. via Zoom, the Finance and Ops Committee got together. The members there, myself, Summer Putnam, Lisa Novak, others attending, Matt Wandry, Mark Rader, Erica Ingalls, Julia Geiger from Barton Mello, and Mary Moss. Meeting called to order at 2. We discussed bid pack number 7.1, Roland Warner Playground. Barton Mello recommends the following for bid package 7.1, new adventure development and construction for an amount not to exceed $349,188. It was the consensus of the committee to recommend for full board approval tonight. But budget update, Matt shared that district administrators are collecting data relative to operations, enrollment, facility utilization, curriculum and instructional practices, and a variety of other items to inform our budget reduction work moving forward. In an effort to ensure the responsible and efficient use of district resources and long-term financial stability while continuing to support student learning and overall school operations, we must evaluate all necessary data points. 31AA funding update. Matt updated the committee relative to the 31AA funding case that was heard by the Court of Claims on December 17th, 2025. As discussed last month, districts are considering whether or not to accept the funds based on a number of qualifying conditions, including but limited to waiving attorney-client privileges and forfeiture of governmental immunity following any qualifying mass casualty event. Because of this potential risk, many districts are opting to decline the funds. The case has been appealed, but the deadline to accept or reject the funding remains set for December 30th at 11:59, and we adjourned at 2:35.
Okay, any questions or comments from anyone?
I have a question about the bid pack for Roland Warner Playground. I know that over the past years, I've spoken to Wyatt Stevens, and Mark, I'm hoping you can chime in on this. He has wanted a pavilion or something. Is that something that can be implemented?
That's part of it.
That is part of the bid pack.
That's what,
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's what took us longer, because we went out to the market for a bid because of, from inception 2 years ago,
Right.
it's taken on about 5 different lives of formation, and it's a lot more complex than people think to put one up.
Sure.
To maintain it, and structural integrity and all that, and land, and making sure we don't have any utilities underneath there. So there's a lot more goes into it than people realize. So that's, we did the bid pack with Julian Bartonell, got it back, and that's what we're bringing forward.
And that's a really important point for community members, board members to appreciate that we oftentimes will get recommended improvements to facilities, and it is very commonly followed by, and I know a guy who will build it for us at cost. We hear that a lot. And we then have to kind of navigate the frustration that parents often have with us, which we understand, which is, why do you have to bid it out? Why is it taking so long? What are all these additional costs? And to Mark's point, when you build a physical structure that's going to either have a roof over the heads of children, or people are going to be a learning environment, it has to go through the necessary approvals, permitting, and all of the necessary state and local regulations as it relates to a public entity like a Board of Education approving expenditures. And when you're doing that, there's a bureaucracy, there's red tape, there are things that delay the process. We recognize that that's frustrating for parents who have gone out and worked really hard to fundraise, for example, and say, hey, we've got this big nest egg of money, and all of us that have been fundraisers before, and if you're a parent with a kid in an organization, you've sold pizza kits, and you've worked at the festivals, and you've sold Girl Scout cookies, and we've all done it, right? You want to see the money, and you want to see the fruits of that come to fruition while your kid is still there to experience. So it's a really double-edged sword. You've got an athletic booster that, for example, they can work countless hours, and this purchase is going to fund a new whatever, and all of a sudden their kid graduates and they never got to experience. So there's legitimate frustration, because there are many times we're frustrated with the red tape and the bureaucracy and the time it takes. And you know, Wyatt's been nagging about the pavilion for 10 years, you know? God bless his heart, Wyatt.
I'm so glad he's getting it.
Right, it is gonna be a great thing, but this is not a private entity, these are public dollars, and what is required of us, relative to transparency, timing, the bid process, acceptance of the bid, board review at the committee level, the full board level, all those things take time. And we get that it's frustrating, and we appreciate, you know, people, having patience with that process.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you, Dr. Watson. Okay, that concludes our reports this evening. Let's go into our action items. So, in our first is our consent grouping. Approval of minutes of December 3rd, 2025. First reading of board policy 3230, professional staff evaluation, school administration. And then we have field trip requests. Lapeer High School wrestling team to travel to Hudson, Michigan on January 16th, 17th of 2026. And then also the Lapeer High School wrestling team to travel to Detroit, Michigan on March 5th through the 7th of 2026. Are there any items anybody wishes to be removed from this consent grouping? Okay, I hear none, so take a motion.
I make a motion that reading of the minutes be waived and consent items be approved as presented.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion and a support. Mr. Van Wagner?
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak?
Aye.
Mrs. Pines says aye. Motion carries. Okay, and then our last action item is bid pack number 7.1, Roland Warner Playground.
I'll make a motion that bid pack 7.1, Roland Warner Playground be awarded to New Adventure Development and Construction for an amount not to exceed $349,188.
Support.
Any discussion on this motion? Okay, hearing none. Mr. Van
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBar?
Aye.
Dr. Watson?
Aye.
Dr. Novak? Mrs. Putnam says aye. Motion carries. Okay, this brings us to our board member communication topics this evening. So I think we're gonna do a little something different tonight. I think each of us are just, in the spirit of Board Appreciation Month, I think each one of us are gonna just say a couple of words on what really brings us our spirited, joy of wanting to be a board member. And I think, Dr. Novak, if you don't mind, we can start with you and then we'll just go down the table.
Yeah, so, the reasons, I think I am the longest serving actually here, which, yeah, for sure. But, so it is definitely, rewarding, but it's challenging at times, of course, as well. But I think one of the things that I really enjoy about being a board member, or am sitting here for, is, definitely my background in working for the schools, and then, now going into teaching. So the accounting side, the fiscal responsibility is significant for me. So, I sit here as that's my, I feel like, primary hat. Also, I am a school board member for Lapeer ISD, and so I like that connection as well, being that we are the largest, I always say it all the time in here, we're the largest school district in the county, So I think that voice is helpful, for the ISD as well. So, each one is so different, but definitely it's an honor to serve the community. I think that we need to get the message out that more people need to serve the community. I think we're missing that a little bit. So I asked the fellow educators to get that roll out, that it's not a bad thing, even though we're not paid, we still get, it's good to give your time and your abilities where necessary. So thank you.
Yes, thanks. I think for me, my passion that wanted to drive me to be on the board is, kids are so important to me. The youth, and just helping mold them to be successful people in the world, whatever they choose to be, is such a joy to see and watch and be a part of that process. And then, just be in the industry that I am, just watching those students rise and then become such a great role model in our community that we need, right? So for me, kids are so important. We need our kids. And it just helps tie you to the community. And then lastly, I just truly, truly believe in our education. Education is so important. It is the backbone of everything we do. So I think those compiled together is what leads me to want to be a piece of this, be a piece of this board and help our district and our community. And I think the last thing for me is that I think there's a lot of things from the industry we can complement the district with and bring. Just like I learned so much from the presenting schools that I take back to me to work every day. So I think that complementary back and forth is definitely a plus. And like Dr. Novak said, I agree. I think more community members get involved with our district now to see. I mean, she didn't fade from it. It is challenging also to sit here, but it's very rewarding at the same time. So I think there's so many great members in our community that could be, a helpful piece down the road as a board member. Dr. Watson.
Ditto. No, Matt asked us to say kind of what, brought us to the board, think of something about that. And I was just thinking about it. I'm thinking, one, I was obviously strong-armed and I was promised a lot of money. Yeah, I mean, that was it. So, and then I got on the board and realized I was lied to on that part. So pay is all right, we get free waters and honey, which, no, that's right. And it's, no, honestly, it's having a practice here and being a business here in the community. The schools have been a huge part of everything we've been involved with as well, whether it's, kids or groups coming, asking for fundraiser help, sponsorship help, that kind of stuff. So we've always been attached to the school. That's our thing, that's our place, we're here. So it's been that way ever since we started, and I loved it. And that was one of the reasons I started in Kiwanis, was to give back to. And then it was Leader Fund. It got closer to school, then it was coaching and more involved with the school. And so the board was just kind of other way to be involved with the school and give back and help kind of lead in the right direction. I think where the school's going, I love what they're doing. I love the way they're doing it. All the ideas that teachers bring here, that each school brings about how they're handling situations, it's amazing. It is. Watching some of the stuff these kids are doing, it's amazing. It's really, really neat to see, and it's all the stuff that's not seen on TV. It's not seen in the news. It's all the stuff that you got to be here to see it. And so for me, it's great to be able to see that and acknowledge it and know it's out there. There's some amazing kids in our community, and I'd like to be a part of it and make it continue. So, ditto.
Great. Okay, well, my reasons for being here are named Jacob, Brody, and Jameson. They are my boys. Two of them are Lapeer graduates. My youngest son is still in school. He's a freshman. And then my husband, Jeremy, who passed away 4.5 years ago. Those are my main reasons why I'm up here. Because of the encouragement from my kids and from my husband, and my friends, I am here, and my favorite school who is presenting today, Murphy, that is where my journey started here in Lapeer. It's the school that we started in back in 2012, and as I was able to quit my job within that following year, I wanted to be more involved. I wanted to be present. It was always my dream to be a classroom mom, to be involved in the school, to know the teachers, to know the staff. My mom used to do it as a volunteer in Kersley schools back when I was a child back in the 80s. So that was a long time ago, but my mom, I always wanted to emulate my mother. She was a wonderful volunteer, and I love helping. I love being a helper, and so I got involved and started attending PTC meetings, doing different fundraisers, and then I was able to become the PTC president, and then doing more fundraising because I have slung my share of cookie dough. One year, Murphy raised $15,000 in 1 year for cookies.
We know where to go.
Yes, and I sold a lot of cookies. It was great. And
Please note that in the record.
yes, I remember at the time you were like, hey, 15 grand for cookies. Yeah, that was a lot of work, but it was fun. The other reasons why I'm here is because I have nephews in the district. Their names are Jackson, Braden, and Cooper. And then I have friends who have kids that are here. I have teachers of my children who have become close friends. I have people in the Colt team on the board who have been close friends as well, who I have relied on in so many ways that I can't sit here long enough to tell you how much this board and predecessing board members have helped me to continue on this mission. I don't need to say that, it goes without saying that I had overcome some very difficult days, and it was phone calls from board members, from the superintendent, from Colt team, friends. Okay, April, you gotta come to this meeting. We need you. And there was about a year period where being on this board was the only thing that made me feel like I could be helpful to anybody other than my kids. My kids were okay, but being here gave me a reason to get out of bed and to try to become a better person, because I was so devastated after my husband passed in 2021 that I didn't feel like I had a purpose. And with the encouragement of our president, Summer Putnam, she was the one that encouraged me to get out in the job world and become who I was meant to be. And this school district, this building, these people, all of the people here, all the people out there on Facebook, I'm so grateful for this opportunity to serve. It has been such a blessing to me to represent this district, this community that I have made a home with my family and my friends, and I just love being here. And I'm so grateful, and that is why I am here. And for cards like this from Mrs. Pape's class, and just the fun little things, it's so nice. We're told, yeah, we don't get paid to do this. This is a volunteer. This is my ultimate volunteering gig, and I am so happy that I am a part of it. And thank you to all of you who believe in me and continue to support me. So, thank you.
Good luck, boys.
It's Board Appreciation Month. You want to wait a while or what?
Oh, that's my correct everybody's favorite board member.
Table this till the next meeting. Wow. Next time we do this, I want to go first.
Yeah, switch seats.
We'll start at that end.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
I'll make a note.
Yeah. It's tough to follow that. I feel a little bit of what every member said, and as being the new guy, I don't have a lot of experience on the board, but I wanted to be part of it. I guess you you may have let the cat out of the bag. I thought it was a compensated job. Okay.
You got the same speech I did, yeah.
Compensated through the heart.
Yeah. No, I've been involved with some robotics teams and things like that, and just watching the kind of the light come on as you're working with the kids and seeing the hands-on. I'm a big advocate for the hands-on learning and just seeing when they're like, oh wow, that's what makes sense. I mean that feeling is as rewarding as you can get, I guess. I love attending the both academic and athletic events and seeing the pride and being part of that Lapeer Community Schools team and look forward to finding different ways to maybe improve and showcase that brand and make sure that we get out to all the parents and family and students to be proud of what they've got. You guys have done a great job, and I appreciate your service, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Awesome.
That's all I got.
It's all yours. Mr. Van Van.
Tonight is a one-year anniversary of actually swearing the oath to this position. And Casey and I was talking about this a little bit earlier. The very first event I attended was the board appreciation dinner, which made me feel very much like an imposter. Because I haven't done anything yet. But then I realized that we've had a past president who received a Nobel Prize before he did anything either. That didn't alleviate my burden of feeling like an imposter. So if I need to, I would still appreciate being able to reimburse for that dinner.
It's $2,000.
But as Dr. Novak had said, we need to have more people involved in community and understand the responsibility of what it means to be a part of the community that we live in as part of our constitutional republic. I don't have a whole lot of professional education. My highest academic level of achievement does come from Lapeer West High School in 1981, in which Principal Dagley at that time introduced to us at commencement. His first line, I believe, was something like, congratulations, students. You have now accomplished the lowest recognized standard of achievement that this state has to offer. And for most of you, it only took 13 years.
All right, I might say that this year.
Hold on to that one. Yeah, hold on to that one.
You may want to research what happened.
Noted.
But what this system did was it installed in me a desire for lifelong learning, and in that position of lifelong learning, I've spent the last 5 years really deeply studying our own American history and its true roots, and discovering and having a whole new appreciation for what it means to be a responsible citizen. And that, and what freedom really means. That, it's been said that all things are permissible, not all things are beneficial. And there are two different types of freedoms. There is a positive freedom, and if you were to study our Judeo-Christian heritage, you would find that those positive freedoms in Hebrew combine the concept of freedom, discipline, and a moral code. That a life lived with a moral code, with discipline ascribed thereto, lives or helps you live a life of abundance, and you enjoy freedoms that you never could otherwise. And part of that is getting to volunteer and being a part of the community and serving on a board such as this. You know, the other thing that, on that night that we swore that oath, I did a refresher and reread the Michigan Constitution to remember exactly what it said in Article 8, Section 1. That religion, morality, and knowledge, that being essential for good citizenry, good government, and the happiness of its citizenry, shall forever be encouraged. So I'm taking a long dive and looking into that and as to what that really means. You know, a lot of our founders had spoken about that very thing. You know, and even in Washington's farewell address, which, if none of you have read that, I now read that on a yearly basis because it is so profound. He suggested that we look at morality and religion as being indispensable supports to good government and the happiness of mankind. And you'll see that many of our other founders also said things of similar nature. So as we move forward, and what I've enjoyed seeing is I'm seeing a return to that sense of morality that I saw as a kid growing up. You know, and that encouragement for people to engage in communities in a way that they haven't in a long period of time. And you know, in any good classroom, you have to have visual aids too, right? So I brought just a few visual aids, just real quick, because it was that statement in Article 8, Section 1 has a long history in our country, dating back all the way to the 1640s in the Massachusetts colony and the first public schools there. We look at in that first colony where people were seen as equal, both men and women, boys and girls were taught equally, and they ended up with the highest level of reading ability pretty much of anywhere in the world within 5 years. And they did it with, you know, building on very simple books like the New England Primer, or later on as school systems developed, the blueback speller. I'm actually old enough that my first and second grade teachers used this. You know, in a 100-year period, there was over 120 million copies of this that were actually printed. And there's a lot of them still available today, or later on then, something in school, the McGuffey readers. So how did we take these simple books and develop an education system where just 140 years after the first public education system, we could write something as the Federalist Papers for the least educated among the population to be able to read and understand the Constitution better. You know, as I see our society and the way it's moving, we're seeing, in a sense of rebellion even, those who are in the generation coming up, they're the most conservative that we've seen in many generations. And they're headed already back to the more traditional concept of religion and morality that we seem to have walked away from. And I think if we want to continue as a school system, that we might want to follow that trend.
Thank you. So I think to just wrap up that portion, we really want to thank Charles tonight for our board appreciation dinner. I mean, every January they do such a wonderful job. And the meal that they prepared for us, and just want to make sure they get the special thanks that they deserve, because it was delicious again. They've outdone themselves. I don't know how they can up themselves every year, but they do a great job. But I want to make sure anybody have any other comments they want to make tonight, they have the ability, to do so before we move on to the next item.
I think we should thank Murphy again for coming. Again,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It was great hearing from the student. That was definitely a highlight. And just hear about her leadership and that she's more confident, especially in a young girl, right? That's awesome. So
She's a great kid.
I could tell her parents were so proud. I thought that was probably the best thing to see, right?
That was amazing.
They were just, smiling from ear to ear. And I can relate, so, yes. So thank you.
guys for all that you do. We appreciate you.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Okay, I'll turn it over to you, Superintendent Wonderly.
Thank you, Madam President. In kind of alignment with what Mr. Van Wagner was saying about a good community, and leadership of communities, it's also very important to give credit where credit is due. And the idea to have a board share what I would call your why was not mine. It was Mr. McKinder's, and he mentioned that to me a few days ago, and I thought that is an absolutely excellent idea. And what great timing. So Matt, thanks for that great idea, because I think what we heard tonight was not only diverse, it was deep. We agree that everyone comes to this table with a different why, a different purpose, different skill set, different opinions, different background, and can contribute to the whole is very important. I think it was so unique, but yet collectively is what makes this board and ultimately the organization that much stronger. I've been the superintendent here 15 years. I've had over 20 board members serve in the seats you sit in now, and can honestly say that in that time, we have been so lucky as an organization that while we may have disagreement, no one individual board member has ever effectively, at least in my tenure, derailed the board from its primary and core function. And I can only say that having been in this business as long as I have, and spoken to colleagues and observed other boards and how they function, both locally and in other parts of the state, we truly are blessed because the organization follows the lead of the people sitting at this table. And if we challenge each other in appropriate ways, if the dialogue is robust and we're committed, we don't have individual agendas, great things can happen if our organization sets the tone so the people that come here and present to us who are actually doing the real work of this district, you can feel confident the leadership is stable and that good, sound-minded people are sitting at this table making some really important decisions. These are people with businesses, full-time jobs, families, stresses, other, and you heard in many capacities, other volunteer commitments, both concurrently with this, that preceded their time on the board. These are truly our most committed community members, because this is the most thankless volunteer job conceived by man. There is no question that what many people's misunderstanding of what a Board of Education has the power to do, the money that you supposedly make, or at least were promised prior to running, none of which is true, right? You're sitting here now, so who won? Yeah. Okay. It is a tough job, and when we have seen, this board has seen its fair share of controversy and oversight of very difficult decisions, but the passion that you see on this side of the table is a mere reflection of the passion of the community for a school district. And we have to sit here, sometimes the line at the podium, to complain about what we're doing is long, and those are tough nights, and those are challenging issues to confront, and they're not all in the rear view mirror, I can tell you that. But what you articulated this evening is going to sustain you when those tough times come and those difficult decisions have to be made, and we deeply appreciate that. Those of us on the school district leadership team, this is our career. We're paid to be here. You are not. And so we are not on equal footing as it relates to, although I sit at the same table with you, I am an employee of the district. You are the lifeblood, the volunteer connection between the paid employees and the community, the citizenry to whom we are responsible. And that is important. We talked about one small issue this evening, that being the pavilion, the playground. That issue is a microcosm of everything we do, which is there is a taxation system that we submit to that produces revenue. And 100% of those dollars do not belong to any individual sitting here. Collectively, we have a very important responsibility to make sure the distribution of those dollars is done fairly, equitably, morally, right, and what we determine as a body to be the most effective use of those limited resources. This is not a private equity firm or a for-profit business doing profit sharing. It's not my money, it's not your money, it's the taxpayers' money. And the fact that we get to sit here once a month in explanation of those decisions is a very important part of the process. I agree with John, I agree with Lisa, and many of you, although not saying it directly, echoed these sentiments. We desire more people to be at these meetings. We desire greater numbers of volunteers. We want more people involved in our schools. I want more parents walking the hallways. I want more grandma and grandpas volunteering to read and supervise playgrounds, not less. Our job is to invite the community to be a part of it. Lapeer Community Schools. And please, if you're watching, take this as an honest invitation. You heard it up here repeated several times. We want you to be a part of what we do. We can't do it without you. These folks are just taking the next step in that volunteerism to be here and make Lapeer Schools a part of their life. And for that, we thank you. With that, I yield back the balance of my time to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Superintendent Wondry. With that, I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
Support. Okay. Mr. Van Layden.
Aye.
Mr. Carpenter.
Aye.
Mrs. Lar.
Aye.
Dr. Watson.
Aye.
Dr. Novak.
Aye.
Mrs. Clemens is aye. Meeting adjourned.